Got another good show for you today. First of all, like, subscribe, share the channel, make a comment. That helps me out with the YouTube algorithms. And please set your notifications so you don't miss any of our content. Now, a few days ago, I had posted a video, short video about the border insecurity. It's really border insecurity. I titled the video "Border Security," but there's a lot of issues going on in the country, and one of the biggest issues is it's kind of like our homes are being invaded. In some cases, depending on where you live at in this country, that's an actual reality. But when I say that, I'm talking about the country, the United States of America, the southern border. That's not to mention what may be going on around the country as well. But anyway, this guy said some very interesting things, which we're about to play here. But I said after I posted that first video, I've gotten a lot of reactions off of it. And I said, okay, what I'll do is when I get some more information, I'll post another video about it. Well, I've come across that. So let's check this out.
Have been passing through the gap on their way into the United States on a regular basis. Well, tens of thousands of illegal immigrants are pouring across the U.S. southern border every day. Thousands of Chinese nationals were captured on camera over the past few days in the Darien Gap by investigative journalist Michael Yan, who says tens of thousands of Chinese have been passing through the gap on their way into the United States on a regular basis. Separately, last week, a group of illegal Muslim immigrants were confronted by a group of journalists in the United States, asking, "Where did you come from? You're here in the United States. Who are you? Where did you come from?" Here was his response.
By the way, if you are smart enough, you would know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're going to know who I am. Very easy.
Very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
The entitlement, guys. Wow.
So you will know who I am soon enough, he says. Well, that's chill.
Those are the words that stood out to me. It's not the fact that, just the fact that he's coming by across the country, into the country illegally. It's what he said, and it's how he said it. And it seems to me that the journalist at this time who was recording this and saying entitlement, he, in my opinion, missed what this guy was saying. This was not a speech or a comment or a statement about entitlement. He was about awareness, a sharp warning and awareness of who this guy is. And to me, that was a very threatening tone.
Killing, and it didn't take reporters very long, actually, to figure out where this guy was from. Turns out this man was allegedly from Azerbaijan, and he'd been in jail for the last 12 years on terrorism charges. Take a look at this.
If you are smart enough, you would know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're going to know who I am. Very easy.
Wow. Very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
The entitlement, guys. Wow.
So there you can see he was arrested 12 years ago for terrorism, organizing explosives among the charges to carry out terrorist attacks, and somehow just released last week on January 19th from prison, and he's already in the United States. What in the world is going on here? Again, this is happening in the United States, and this week, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that the Biden administration can remove razor wire from those border fences that the Texas National Guard had erected to try to keep terrorists out, to try to keep the illegal invasion from happening. So
let me ask you this question. Okay, let's put it this way. How would you feel if the local government came to your neighborhood, came to your home, you married, 3 children, young, under the ages of 10, 8, 2, and the local government says, we want you to start leaving your doors unlocked. Matter of fact, leave them open. And we want you to start allowing strangers to come and live into your homes. We want full access. and you are not allowed to have any security systems. You're not allowed to lock your doors. Now, I'm talking to you as a private citizen. How would you like that? What kind of message do you think that sends? What kind of control does that mean that the government would have? And what are the penalties if you do not comply? Well, the United States is a big house to a lot of people. The borders are considered walls to protect what's in, potentially from dangers from without. And yet, the government, the ones who are supposed to be protecting those on the inside, prefers those on the outside, and now has made you and your family vulnerable. How would you take that?
So what is happening to our country? Well, Tucker tweeted this just a short time ago. So it's unanimous. Everyone in power, from the White House to the hedge fund managers to the Supreme Court of the United States, has decided to destroy the country by allowing it to be invaded. That leaves the population to defend itself. Where are the men of Texas? Why aren't they protecting their state and the nation? Investigative journalist Michael Yon joins me now from the Darien Gap in Panama, the major choke point where these illegals converge before heading up to the United States, using luxury buses to be ferreted up to the United States border. Michael, you just exposed a stunning story down there in Panama that involves the head of Homeland Security, Mayorkas. I want to get to that story in a moment because it's incredibly important. But first, I just want to get your thoughts on a couple of the points that I just made. Number one, on the terrorists having the balls to tell this U.S. reporter, hey, you'll find out who I am soon enough. What was your response when you saw that?
We see this all the time. This is normal for people like me and quite a few others who are on the border all the time, whether Texas, Mexico, Arizona, the whole works, California, or down here in the Darien Gap, Colombia. We see it everywhere, constantly. Very arrogant, very pushy, often. You can tell a lot of these people are on a mission, and that includes Chinese as well. I just took Brett Weinstein and Chris Martinson and Masako Ganaha and Ann Vandersteel back to the Darien Gap with Chuck Colton. We were in there again at the camps, took them out deep into the jungle. Of course, Chuck Colton and Masako Ganaha go down there all the time. And there were many Chinese again, always arrogant, always pushy, always, one guy, for instance, I asked where he's from, and he said Korea. And I said, and then he spoke to his wife, apparent wife, in Mandarin. I said, you're not from Korea, you just spoke Mandarin. And he laughed. He obviously spoke English as well. And then his apparent daughter, maybe she was a teenager, she spoke some English, and she said, oh, yes, we're Chinese, Yeah, obviously, right? I mean, I can tell the difference by looking at them. I spent a lot of time in China and Korea and all over Asia, many years, right? And so, but the bottom line is, a lot of the people coming in are definitely on a mission, and a lot of the Chinese go in and they grow marijuana. For instance, in Maine, they've got a huge amount of marijuana facilities in Maine and Oregon and in Oklahoma, California. And what are they putting in that marijuana? Who knows, right? So this is a very serious issue. And Islamic, you got to keep in mind, probably the most dangerous Islamic terrorist organization for Americans is Hezbollah. And Hezbollah is very thick down in Venezuela, right? And the number one group of people coming through are Venezuelans. Many of the Hezbollah speak Spanish fluently, right? And so I'm sorry if you hear background noise. That's actually the Panama Canal back there behind me. And there's a railway and a road back there. So, but the bottom line is many of these people from, in 1994, there was a terrorist bombing here in Panama. It killed 21 or 22 people. About a dozen were Jewish. I recently had lunch with one of the relatives, and within one day of that, there was another attack in Argentina that killed about 85-ish. It was a lot, right, at a Jewish center. That was Hezbollah. They got the mastermind behind the Panama attack is believed to now live in Venezuela, and he owns a bar. You can't make up this stuff, right? So he's still there. So these people that come in to Venezuela, if you're Iranian, you can get a passport immediately. You can just show up, and keep in mind, many of the Hezbollah When they grew up in Venezuela, their Spanish is absolutely fluent. They can pass as Venezuelans, no problem whatsoever. They've got the accent, the body language, the soccer team, the whole works.
And I've seen a lot of these guys with these sort of fake passports pretending, trying to pass themselves off as different nationalities. Of course, we saw this during Vietnam, people pretending to be Filipino. And so, obviously different passports pretending to, to fly under the radar. I want to get your take on something you uncovered in Panama, which is a bombshell story. The HIAS facility that you uncovered there is a China camp. Can you explain what this is, and Secretary Mayorkas being a part of this illegal invasion of the United States?
Oh, yes. I mean, I've been talking about HIAS for 3 years now. When I first saw him in Darien, that's
Right.
the Hebrew Immigration or Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, right? And
Right.
so, but it never congealed with people exactly what they are. Doug McGregor, Colonel Doug McGregor sent me an email a few days ago. He said, Mayorkas was a board member of HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. Actually, Mayorkas is from Cuba. He was born in Cuba, and both of his parents are Jewish, which is interesting. That's probably why he was on the board of HIAS, right? And then he moved.
Yo, are y'all seeing this? Are you seeing the strings that are attached, the web, how deep it goes, the different directions it comes from? Listen, I don't believe this is an accident. Nobody in their right mind who's been observing what's been going on the past several years under this administration can really honestly say that there's no intention here to I don't even know if this is a word or not, but de-sovereigntize America. This is now, first of all, let me say this. I'm not peddling panic and fear. All I'm doing is making others aware, some who are not aware of what's going on in the world, and share my thoughts with people who I believe are like-minded. Because we want nothing but the best. We want to live a life of peace, security, prosperity, safety for our loved ones as well as ourselves, and all those type of things. But we are definitely living in some very interesting times. For me, my faith is in Jesus Christ, my King and Lord. And so I'm not in panic mode. I'm not in fear mode, and I don't peddle those poisons. My desire is to share hope. Again, just provide awareness and encouragement, and also, like I said, I receive it as well. So, but this is some very concerning. We're at a very pivotal point, pivotal place, both as a country and in history. So I hope when as you listen to this is not a form of entertainment to you or something you just click and go on to the next thing as if it doesn't mean anything. All of this is culminating. It's coming together for some big thing to happen. Okay, so please be paying attention to this, to me, to others out there. Yes, it's okay to have some time to relax and all those type of things. I like to share on my channel different types of things. Sometimes I might, show humorous or comedic videos, something to that nature. I definitely want to be informative, and as I said, I want to encourage people in my description on my channel. I want to encourage people, inspire people, motivate people, but also I want to have relevant conversations. That's what I'm gonna do. So be in prayer for this country, but also have corresponding action. Prayer by itself is not enough. We must have corresponding action, whatever that means for you. Because I don't know if anybody who's actually serving at the border or in law enforcement or whatever is watching channels like this or confirming this type of information. However, I encourage you to vote or whatever your position, whatever you're supposed to be doing at this time in your life, do it. I believe I'm doing that now.
You can see there's a congratulatory letter from HIAS on their website for Mayorkas moving on to bigger and better things from HIAS to become Secretary of Homeland Security. Now, I just took Brett Weinstein and Chris Martinson to the camp where you see the photo of the HIAS sign. They have the HIAS sort of, actually, one of their headquarters is like 5 minutes walk from me right now in the City of Knowledge in Panama. But down in Darien, they have another office. Actually, it's a building that I almost rented, but Highest got it first. And it's right beside China Camp, what I call China Camp. Here they call it San Vicente Camp. But China Camp is the camp that Mayorkas went to on April 18th, 2022. I was physically present when he did it. I have video when he did it. He came there on April 18th, 2022, right next to the Highest building, which is China Camp, and he increased the size of that camp. This is the main camp. It's really not a camp much anymore. It's more of a bus station. When you come out of the jungle, you can go there, get a shower, and then get on the buses and head up to Costa Rica and Nicaragua and end up in the United States in a week or so. Now, the Highest, the China Camp, also here called San Vicente Camp, down in Darien Province. Again, I've spent months down there, right beside this camp. That camp, the trailers that they put in after Mayorkas came with fistfuls of cash in 2022, the trailers are from China. So in other words, these trailers, I've been inside the trailers, bunch of bunk beds, very clean, very nice, showers. Those facilities actually were made in China, bought with American money. Highest is mostly funded by American money. It's public. The same with IOM. IOM and Highest, their offices are right out, 5 minutes walk from here.
So this choke point, this spot where, and who's then staying in these nice environments? Is it the Chinese then? And before they're then shuttled off to the United States, backed by United States dollars and the funding of the Department of Homeland Security? I mean, it's outrageous.
Yes.
Chinese, Syrians, for instance, Anthony Rubin, who you've had on your show several times, the man works hard. He was working late last night, sending me incredible stuff. And Anthony Rubin, if you remember when he confronted those Syrians, and it was really a little dangerous for Anthony. He's got a wild side to him. Well, he was outnumbered about 10-1, and he's confronting those Syrians. Or they said they were Syrians. That was at China Camp. That's on the road right in front of Highest.
Syrians.
So Highest was about 30 or 40 meters from where Anthony was, kind of calling out those Syrians. They were actually staying at China Camp.
So funneling American dollars to expand the size of this China camp, using U.S. taxpayer dollars to expand, make it a cushy environment for illegal Chinese and other immigrants to stay and then be ferreted off using luxury buses to the United States. Do I have that correct?
That is correct. That is accurate and detailed. Now, again, Dr. Chris Martinson and Brett Weinstein and Masako Ganaha and Vandersteel, Chuck Holden, I just had them, not that Chuck needs anybody to take him deep into the jungle. That's where he spends a lot of his time. But we were out at Canam and Brio, which is it's where the Chinese have more money, right? So they take an easier route through Darien Gap. It's not like there's one route through Darien. There's many routes. And the more money you have, the easier it gets. And if you take the easiest routes, it's more like an adventure vacation with the Kuna Indians, carrying your stuff on horses. You come through clean, and you sleep at night in the jungle and that sort of thing. And they come out in this village called Canan Membrillo, which is about 3 hours or 4 hours upriver by Piragua. It took us about 4 hours that day because unfortunately we had 15 horsepower engines instead of 30, which I requested, and from the Indians. But we're pushing the boats. We get upriver, and you'll see in Canan Membrillo, Canan is the name of the village. Membrillo is the name of the river, Rio Membrillo. So they call it Canan Membrillo. It's an Imbra village. They are expanding that facility for more Chinese and others to come through what we call the ATM route. We call it the ATM route because that's the money route. That's the route that people come through. They never get raped. They don't get murdered. They don't get robbed because they pay up front. They pay thousands of dollars. I think I may have sent you a Chinese video one time. And you see the Chinese, it's in Mandarin, but they're coming through Colombia, and they come through on the boats. They get on the horses. It's a total vacation video. I'll send it to you if you haven't seen it yet. But they come through Canam and Brio. Part of that route. It's a total vacation. They're like, yeah, here we are in Panama.
Here we are. We spent the money, and we're getting, with the help of the Americans, we're invading your country.
This is
right
sad.
Under the watchful eye of the Biden administration and
Incredible.
Secretary Mayorkas. I want to get your take before I let you go here, Michael, on what happened this week with the Supreme Court and Texas. Now, it looks like, by all accounts, a cold civil war, right? You have on the one side Texas saying, we're not going to abide by what the U.S. Supreme Court is saying here. We're going to protect our border and set up these razor wire fences, the Texas National Guard. The other side, of course, the Biden administration winning this ruling by the Supreme Court that they can remove this razor wire. But to me, I'm not a Texan. It looks like it looks fake. It looks like showboating because you've had years, Governor Greg Abbott, to secure your border. You've had years to do this. Now suddenly you're doing it. It just seems phony to me. What do you make of this? Are we heading for a civil war, or is this showboating by the Abbott administration? What's happening here? You know this better than anyone.
Oh, we're clearly going into a civil war. I've been calling out Abbott for a long time. As you know, I spend a lot of time in Texas. I've been all over that border in detail. Abbott is a member of World Economic Forum, period. That's all you need to know. That's the uniform he wears. He's basically the Texas sector chief for the World Economic Forum. Everything he's doing with Biden, like
if you don't know who the World Economic Forum are, you can go ahead and look them up on YouTube. They're a bunch of number of them are world leaders or have world leader positions, and people from all over every industry around the world, not just in America, but around the world, who have an evil agenda, and they want to bring the world population, at least a number of them, want to bring the world population down to 500 million people. They want to take control of all of Earth's resources. They want to control all of the population. Okay, they're a very evil group, period. Okay, and I did not know Abbott was a part of that group, but this is ridiculous.
Abbott fighting Biden, it's all kayfabe. I mean, I was down on the Mexican side at Piedras Negras, which is on the Eagle Passes on the Texas side, and I was watching Abbott on my phone, and he's talking about how he's closing the border at Eagle Pass. This was like a couple of years ago. And I'm watching him cross right in front of me. My toes are practically in the Rio Grande. And I'm yelling over to the National Guard, hey, you're doing it wrong. I'm watching your boss right now. He said you're closing it down. I'm watching the Texas National Guard help him up the bank, right? I mean, it's all kayfabe. Abbott is one of them. Abbott is not our friend. Abbott is World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum is closely allied with the Chinese Communist Party. When I took Brett Weinstein down here, he just went home 3 days ago now. I think he was in disbelief when it was clearly he was in disbelief when he first came here. He didn't quite see what's actually happening. But within just a couple days, you could see the light bulbs were popping. I mean, he started to realize, hey, this really is Chinese. This really is the World Economic Forum. This really is IOM. This really is HIAS and all these other. Look, where I'm at now is called the City of Knowledge in Panama, right? This was the U.S. Army South headquarters. I'm in the old U.S. Army South headquarters right now. That's the Panama Canal right there behind me, right? This is Fort Clayton. This, for those who are stationed here, I am at your Fort Clayton, the formerly beautiful base, guarding the Miraflores locks over here and the bridge over there and the canal behind me, right? And the railway right underneath, right? So that's why Fort Clayton is here. This is all these arteries coming together. Now, in 1999, when we gave it back, after we built it up even more, we gave it to Panama with the keys in the door, literally. And now IOM has the choice. That's the International Organization for Migration. They are the chief engine of the invasion, the IOM, or in some languages, OIM. But anyway, their office, 5 minutes walk from me right here, their flag flies over Fort Clayton right now with the Panamanian flag. They just had last Saturday their 25th anniversary of opening the City of Knowledge. This was, again, when it turned over from Fort Clayton 25 years ago, it became this hub, which is now the headquarters for destroying the United States and Central America. Most of the Central Americans and Mexicans I speak with, they still have no idea what's happening, just like most Americans still have no idea what's happening. Even the brilliant Brett Weinstein, now he sees it, but he had to get down here first to see it, right? And once you come down here, if you're a serious player, I'll take you, Clayton, but I'll take serious players down here. It's bigger than you imagine when you really get here. If you get Brett or Dr. Martinson, I'll take you. It's mind-blowing.
I wish I could
really
go.
Explain it enough. It's like explaining the jungle, right?
Well, the next few months, I'll be down there with you. We're going to plan this over the next few months to be down there. Logistically, we'll work that out offline. But yeah, it's just speaking to Mexican citizens just a short time ago who told me their cities are being overrun by these migrants that are coming up through Mexico. That it's not Mexico, doing this. And it's not Mexicans. It's their cities are being overrun by these illegals coming all the way up through. So, Mexico's not happy about this, from what I'm hearing from Mexican citizens as well. So To your mind, we are heading towards a civil war. Michael Yon is in Panama at the Panama Canal, watching these choke points and watching this all unfold. Michael, thanks as always for educating us about what's happening there. This very important story. Michael, thanks so much.
Thank you, sir, and I'll see you down in Darien Gap. I'll take you down there.
I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. You know, YouTube thinks that you'll actually like this next video right here, is personalized based.
This is incredible. See, and like the gentleman was just saying, the guest was just saying, this gentleman by the name of Brett didn't believe what was going on until he saw it for himself. One of the things I've learned about us as a people, many people don't believe something until they have to see it themselves or hear it for themselves, given the situation. And to some degree, that is good. I mean, obviously, you don't want to just believe anything you're being told or shown. However, sometimes this is why we have to really develop that sixth sense. In the word of Christianity, it's called discernment. In the worldly sense, it's called having a gut feeling. There are things that are happening that if you don't pay attention the first time, it can cost you. And this is not a threat or nothing like that. It's just how things play out. That's just what happens in life. We need to pay attention. So leave your comments and share your thoughts. What do you think about what you just heard? Thank you. Remember to like, subscribe, share this channel, set your notifications, and comment. God bless you. I'll see you next time.